Hi, I am back. Sort of, but not really. So I am done hanging out with friends. I think I'm done with hanging out with friends. I got my journal back. I went ahead and handed one of the journals back to one of the friends. So he has his journal back now. And then as he was leaving, he's like, "Oh, I didn't let you didn't get a chance to read it." I was like, "Take photos, send it to me." So yeah. I also realized, like, with how, I guess, protective I am, or like big mama bear almost, that I've realized that basically I need to pause on that, I guess. I need to back away from that. I mean, it can be a good thing. It really, really can be. 100%. But in my case, I was like, wait a minute. Like, again, it can be a good thing. But I'm like, okay, I'm doing a little too much. I'm getting a little too much in the habit. And like, there's times in which it's like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna need to chill and enjoy the moment. There was at least one time today where I was like, or a couple times today where I was like, okay, Mama Bear needs to go ahead and like calm almost. So what happened was that the teacher, the head tutor, I don't know if it's insecurity or desire to be accepted. I don't know. But what it is that it's like, yeah, to be accepted. So what it is that her personality, it changes into what the other person's personality is like. And so it can be, it can't, like, you know, people sometimes are like that because they're constantly around others. But other times it's like, okay, this is not the greatest thing to do. It's like, okay, I still want people to be themselves. So, like, for example, and what I mean by Big Mama is that, so in the past, like, the tutor, the head tutor, she would go ahead and let me be myself, or like, you know, let me go ahead and tutor people. Occasionally I'll ask her for help, and she'll go ahead and help when I need her. So that's like MLA format, APA format, because I don't have that stuff memorized. I'm learning, but I do not have that stuff memorized. Like, it's not ingrained. So I let her take over. She goes ahead and teaches people about MLA and APA formatting. And it's like, okay, great, perfect. Like, you can go ahead and teach people and help them out with that. That's great. So I went ahead, I let her do that. Well, other than that, she'll let me go ahead and tutor people, like, just as I am. And it's like, okay, great, like, good. Well, what ended up happening earlier today was that I was helping someone out, and she goes ahead and she's like trying to interject her help also, or like, she's trying to help, which is great, but she's also like, oh, you could do this, and like, oh, you should do this, and things like that. And I'm just like, wait, is this your appointment or is this my appointment? Like, I'm just like, what in the world? And so I was like, did you want to take over the appointment? Like, and she was like, no, and she sort of backed away. And then, like, every few minutes or so, she would go ahead and start interjecting her appointment. Well, the appointment that I had, in my case, was basically special needs. Learning disability due to an accident. And what I learned is basically, if you're driving an ATV, wear a helmet. Just wear a helmet. Because this kid, he was probably 17 or so. He was like maybe 16, 17 years old, I'm guessing. He was in an accident that was so severe. Like, it caused him brain damage. and learning and memory disabilities. So like, let's say you're like working on stuff, he could not remember, like, let's say I told him and I tutored him on something. He knows how to read and write, which is wonderful. But let's say I'm tutoring him on something, and I'll tutor him or I'll teach him, and by like 30 minutes later, he's completely forgotten the information. Not just like, hey, help jog my memory. Like, he cannot retain the information. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So that's basically what happened. He was in an ATV accident, basically a four-wheeler accident. And whenever he was in that accident, it caused that much severe brain damage where he has memory issues, and basically he's not able to retain any information. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, this poor kid. Now again, he can still read, he can type. He can still read, he can still type, so he can still do all of that information, like the basics of it. But like, he can't actually like do anything to really help himself out. And so like, I was trying to work with this particular student, and I realized, okay, so this is like, it was told to me in like, to apply for this, or like whenever the appointment was made. I was like, cool, so I know exactly what needs to be done. Like, just be aware and watch. And so I realized, okay, he has memory issues, but he can still read, which is like very much key. And so I was like, okay, cool, so he'll read. And then I wrote down like every single piece of directions that I had for him. And it's like, okay, so I went ahead and wrote it down. I was like, okay, he needs this and he needs that and he needs this and that. So I went ahead and like wrote it all down basically for him. And then like, at that point, like, the teacher is still trying to, oh crap. Why is this semi-truck trying to move to the center? I think they were trying to avoid the semi-truck in front of them. And it's like, no. No, just no. That's why semi-trucks need to be a certain amount of space between different trucks. Otherwise, there is a chance you'll get into a car accident. So, yeah. But, yeah, so she kept trying to give advice. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like, ma'am, like, you've never done this before. Like, stop doing it. And so at one point, someone else came in who was a guardian, and like, I was explaining it to her so that she could kind of help him out. And then the head tutor comes back over and starts trying to give advice. And I was like, do you want to write it down? Because he's not going to remember it unless you write it down. And so that's what I realized within, like, you know, whenever I read about it, and then whenever I was observing him as he was trying to log in. And I was like, so I asked her, I was like, hey, basically, you need to understand, like, this is a learning disability. Like, you need to write it down, otherwise he's not going to remember this even, like, maybe 10 minutes from now. So, yeah, I was like, what in the world? And then at one point, her appointment shows up, and I was like, hey, I think your appointment's here. And then she, like, went over to appointment and, like, helped out the student. But I was like, what in the world? Like, lady, like, what is going on? Like, you haven't really done this where you constantly, like, interject. Like, dude, like, from what I'm thinking, like, we haven't done this in, like, months. Why are you doing this? So, like, then I had a guy come in, and he was observing me, and it's like, okay, cool. So as he's observing me, he starts asking questions, which is fine to a certain degree, but then he reads the directions, and he's like, oh, what's the main point? I was like, and she started doing it. I was like, no, you stay here. I'm not done. And I had to tell him because he's still observing. He hasn't completed the class at all. I'm like, and it's like, this is someone that is my friend that I have been working with over a series of months, that I'm like, okay, I finally figured out exactly how to break things down and explain things to her, so that way she understands and can actually get better. So I'm just like, hold up, no, like, you need to stop asking questions and like, don't take over my appointment. He's like, I'm trying to get up to speed. I was like, no, like, I'm on the same page you are. Like, this is my first time seeing this essay. I have never seen this essay before, just like you. Like, we're seeing this at the exact same time. But and I tried to explain to him, like, don't take over don't ask questions constantly. Let me go ahead and lead it. And he just looked at me blankly. He had no idea what I was talking about. So I was like, basically, I was like, do you understand? He's like, no. I was like, okay, so basically, if you ask a question and it's on something that she's trying to explain, I could be still reading the directions. And if you ask a question, then I'm going to be like still reading the directions. Yeah, if you ask a question, I'm going to still be reading the directions. And then, yeah, if you ask a question, I'm going to still be reading the directions. And then, like, I'm not going to go ahead and interject and, like, interrupt you guys. So it may take her, like, 5 minutes to explain what exactly she's talking about. And then after those 5 minutes of talking about this thing, I go ahead and ask her about it. And then she has to explain it all over again. And then, therefore, it just wastes even more time. So that way the appointment ends up being longer than, like, this hour or, like, the time that is allowed. And so I was like, no, like, don't. Basically, I told him that. And I was like, no questions. Like, don't ask any questions. Just observe. And so, basically, it's like, hey, dude, I understand you want to get caught up. But, like, this is my first time, like, seeing this essay just like you. Just know, like, you're trying to get caught up. A lot of these people that come in, they come in usually one time in order for us to help them out with their essays. So I'm just like, no, like that, no. So yeah, I had to, like, and then, like, whenever he was doing that, asking questions and sort of, I don't think that was his purpose, or like, I don't think it was his purpose to take over the appointment, but whenever he started asking questions and, like, ended up taking over the appointment by asking questions in order to attempt to, like, get caught up on what was happening, according to his words, which, you know, that's his mindset, but by him doing that, it's like, dear sir, you're just taking over the appointment because you're asking questions, she's answering it, and then I was like, this is going to take twice as long. Just no, like, absolutely not. So I shut it down pretty much, and then after that, like, he didn't ask any more questions, and, like, I was able to complete what I needed to, instead of being like, okay, I'm saying one thing, he's saying another thing, and it's maybe not the same thing, or it might be similar things. So, and I'm just like, yeah, this was not needed, like, at all. So, yeah, whenever he was, like, asking questions and trying to lead it and guide it and try and figure things out very, very quickly, I suddenly realized where the head tutor, or, like, what happened with the head tutor is that she was acting like him, basically. And I was like, so that's where she got that from. Okay. And it's like, let's shut it down. Let's time out. That was way too, no. Just no. I can't do this. Basically. was just like, I can't do this. Because I'm like, I'm content being in control. But, one sec. And I'm content taking a so I'm content like taking a back seat to things also. But it's like when I'm in the middle of like tutoring and you're here mainly to observe, like I need to go ahead and make sure that I do it in such a way that I can help this person out. Because I'm like, I've been working, and I told them about the essay. Like basically we're on the same page for this. Like this is my first time seeing this, and this is also like your first time seeing it. Like there's no caught up here. But I was like, so aside from that, I was like, her and I, we've been working together for months, and I've been teaching her about certain things, and I explained like, this is my mindset. If you're making the same mistake, it means like your foundation is not very good. And so like, we'll go ahead and work on it, on like the basics about like all of this. So I went ahead and like worked with him in that regards. Yeah, because or like told him my point of view of like helping out people. And if they're making the same mistake, it means that they don't understand. They don't know that like something in their foundation is messed up or something similar to that. So I do hope, I think, especially after the way I reacted, I think it'll be okay. Because like this morning, I was working with someone in regards to the assignment, and then like, I think she was, the head tutor was like talking to them, and like, they finally left about 10:20, and I'm like, I was supposed to leave at 10 o'clock, or like, no, I was supposed to be done with their appointment by 10 o'clock, but their appointment lasted until 10:20 because she kept like interjecting. And so I went ahead and just clocked out. Like we were still talking, I clocked out at 10:30, and I was like, I gotta go, because I had to complete some stuff. And then after I completed the stuff, I'm like, okay, I have class at 11, so I only have like maybe technically a 20-minute period, because I need to walk over, I need to like leave and then walk over in order to get this done. So I was like, no, like, yeah, so I was like, yeah, I gotta go. So like I clocked out and I just left, because I was like, I like have stuff to do, and like, dear ma'am, I'm clocked out, bye. So like, because the appointment lasted 30 minutes longer than it should have. Like also part of it is that I would say something, and then the head tutor would go ahead and basically say the exact same thing that I had said for some of it, and I'm just like, no, please stop, please, like, just no. So yeah, I do hope by me being like, hey dude, like, no, like, stop asking questions, like, stop asking them questions during this, especially while I'm tutoring, because like, you need to chill out. I think also like, because I left right as we were talking, she's like, you did a really good job, thanks, I gotta go. Then it's like, oh, maybe I should simmer down just a little bit. It's like, yeah, just, I had to go, like it was 10:30, I don't have time. So yeah, it was interesting for sure. But yeah, after that, I came back around 1, and she was a lot less talkative. And then also, I was able to, like, I did how many appointments did I do? I did an appointment with a friend of mine, and then during that time, like, she was controlled. Like, she wasn't super talkative. And then with the other guy, like, I was like, no. And then he was, like, quiet during the rest of the time. I explained what he needed to know, like, hey, we've been working just in grammar and English for months. And my belief is basically, if you're making the same mistake over and over and over, it means your foundation is not very good. So we need to improve on that foundation. So, yeah, I'm enjoying being a tutor. I found that I really enjoy figuring out what people are doing, like, not necessarily what people are doing wrong, but realizing, or because it's super easy. Now, if it was math, maybe something a little bit difficult, but I enjoy being like, okay, so this person has, like, a comma spliced or a few sentences, or, like, their verbs are incorrect or something similar to that. So it's like, okay, I'm figuring that all out, and it's like, okay, so I'm, like, figuring out, looking it over, and then I go ahead and break down, like, how they need to do their grammar and their spelling and everything. So, and then I'm like, okay, so you mess up in this area. Let me go ahead and explain, like, what you need to do. And then if it's not clicking, I'll try and explain it a different way. And if it's still not clicking, I'm like, all right, let's go back, like, 3 grades in order to figure out, or let's go back a few grades in order to figure out where a person is supposed to be, or, like, basically for us to rehash exactly, like, the basics of it in order for you to learn and improve. So, yeah. But yeah, overall, I'm, like, super proud of my friend, who I've been working with, because I still remember, I was working with them on some of their papers, and I was like, whenever I was going over some of this information with them, I was like, or, like, their very first essay that I was working with them on it, and I'm just like, this makes no sense whatsoever. And then now, or, like, okay, there's a lot of details that are missing. Okay, like, this is just being repetitive. You're saying it over and over. So, like, aside from that, like, but yeah, I enjoy breaking things down and realizing this is where someone is lacking, and then go ahead and build upon that, because it's like, it's not necessarily that, like, they just it didn't click, like, oh, you know, it didn't click at first, and then they're going back into college so that they understand the assignment, but it's like they were never taught how to do certain things. And, like, okay, let me go back a little bit in order to be able to teach these people how to do stuff. And it's like basic writing. And so I'm enjoying doing that, is figuring out how I can help people in order to become better writers. And so that way it goes from, what did that sentence say, to like, I understand like 90% of the sentences that you are writing. So in that case, like, I'm enjoying it a lot, and figuring things out and doing better with it. So yeah, I do enjoy that portion. So yeah. What else is there? Oh yeah, I did see on the picture website, I did like, the outfit is really pretty. I like the flower skirt. And then also I thought the vest was cute. And then the white shirt and everything. And from what I can tell, the lady is really pretty, and I'm just like, aww. So yeah, I liked it. I thought it was neat overall. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, also the skirt is like wildflowers and just like where it's quiet country living or whatever. So yeah, I like it. So I need to go to bed soon. It's like 11:27. You might see this tonight. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe. Or you may see it in the morning, or whenever you're like, I'm waking up randomly. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. I hope you have a great night. Bye. Love you. Let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about, and I'll respond as soon as I can. Yeah, and if I could, I would definitely give you like a long hug, and at least a long hug. So yeah. Bye. Love you.